In the heart of England, as the 15th century drew to its somber close, a shadow known as the Black Death still lingered, a grim reminder of life's fragility. The year was 1499, and in a quiet village ravaged by loss lived a young woman named Jenny. At just 17, she had witnessed more sorrow than many see in a lifetime. The plague had claimed her entire family, leaving her the sole survivor, a solitary figure in a world steeped in grief. Jenny was tall for her time, standing at 5 feet 11 inches, with a striking presence. Her short, dark black hair framed a determined face, and her dark brown eyes held a fire that refused to be extinguished by despair. While others succumbed to fear, Jenny's heart burned with a different purpose, a fierce desire to fight back, not just for herself, but for every soul cowering in the shadow of the pestilence. She vowed she would not let another family be torn apart as hers had been. Her mission was clear. She would join the army and take the fight to the front lines, a path unheard of for a woman of her era. The idea was radical, almost unthinkable. The army was a world of men, governed by rigid traditions and brute force. A woman in their ranks, it was laughable to most. But Jenny was not most people. She presented herself at the recruitment post, her resolve as unyielding as tempered steel. The recruiting sergeant scoffed, their faces a mixture of amusement and disbelief, but Jenny had come prepared. She challenged the strongest among them to a duel, a bold move that silenced their laughter. What they didn't know was that Jenny had spent years secretly training. Her father, a former soldier, had taught her the art of combat, seeing in her a spirit that transcended gender. Her weapon of choice was the mighty hand mace, a brutal but effective tool, and she wielded it with a fluid power that was mesmerizing to watch. Paired with her full-length body shield, she was a fortress in motion. Her battle skills were not just good, they were second to none. She moved with a combination of grace and ferocity that left her opponents stunned and disarmed. One by one, the skeptical soldiers were defeated, not by brute strength alone, but by a superior technique and a will of iron. The sergeants, their jaws agape, had no choice but to accept her. Jenny had broken the mold. She was now a soldier. Life in the army was harder than she could have imagined. She faced constant prejudice and isolation. Many of the men saw her as an intrusion, a bad omen. They tested her at every turn, hoping to break her spirit and send her running back to the life they felt she belonged to. But Jenny met every challenge with quiet dignity and unwavering competence. She trained harder, rose earlier, and pushed herself further than anyone else. She didn't seek their approval. She sought to earn their respect through action. Alongside her mace and shield, she carried another vital tool, a large leather bag filled with medical supplies. Her mother, a village healer, had passed down a wealth of knowledge about herbs, poultices, and rudimentary wound care. Jenny spent her nights studying these remedies, understanding that the battle against the plague was fought not only on the field, but also in the sick tents. Her dual role began to take shape. She was both a warrior and a healer, a protector in every sense of the word. Slowly, painstakingly, the tide of opinion began to turn. It started with small gestures. A soldier whose life she saved with a well-timed block and a quick bandage. A young recruit she comforted through a fevered night. Her first real test came during a skirmish on the outskirts of a plague-stricken town. The mission was to secure the area and provide aid. Chaos erupted as they were ambushed. Arrows rained down, and swords clashed. In the heart of the melee, Jenny was a whirlwind of controlled fury. Her mace crushed helmets and shattered bones, while her shield deflected blows that would have felled the strongest of men. She fought not with rage, but with a focused intensity, creating a circle of safety around her comrades. When a soldier fell, screaming with a deep gash in his leg, Jenny was there in an instant. While fending off an attacker with her shield, she used her free hand to pull a tourniquet from her bag, expertly stemming the flow of blood. The men who witnessed it were in awe. She wasn't just a fighter, she was their guardian. That day, she saved more than a dozen lives, both through her combat prowess and her medical skills. The whispers of doubt began to be replaced by murmurs of respect. They no longer saw a woman trying to be a man. They saw a warrior who bled and fought alongside them. They started calling her Jenny the Shield, a testament to her protective presence on the battlefield. News of the soldier healer spread like wildfire. From small hamlets to bustling towns, people spoke of the tall woman with the dark hair who wielded a mace in one hand and offered a healing salve with the other. Villages that had been abandoned to despair, where the army feared to tread, became her calling. Jenny led small, specialized units into these quarantine zones. Her bravery was contagious. Where commanders saw only death, Jenny saw lives to be saved. She understood the psychology of fear. She would enter a village not just as a soldier, but as a beacon of hope. She would organize the healthy, teach them basic sanitation and care for the sick, and establish a perimeter to protect them from both marauders and the spread of the disease. Her presence alone seemed to lift the heavy cloak of fear. She would sit with the dying, offering them comfort in their final moments, a kindness they had been denied by a world terrified of contagion. She would also celebrate every recovery, her smile a rare and precious light in the darkness. Her bag of medicines became as legendary as her mace. She combined traditional army medical practices with the herbal lore her mother had taught her, creating effective treatments for symptoms and infections. Jenny's legend grew with each passing season. She became a symbol of resilience, a testament to the idea that one person's courage could indeed change the world. She traveled the length and breadth of England, her reputation preceding her. People would leave signs on the roads, pointing the way to their afflicted villages, with messages that simply said for Jenny. She was no longer just Jenny the Shield, she was simply Jenny, a name that meant hope. The army, which had once scorned her, now revered her. They created a special designation for her, a unit of combat medics trained under her command, both men and women inspired by her example. She had not only broken a barrier, she had forged an entirely new path. She taught her recruits that true strength wasn't just about overpowering an enemy, but about protecting the vulnerable. Her doctrine was simple. We fight for the living. We honor the dead by saving who we can, and we never, ever leave anyone behind. This philosophy became the core of a new kind of soldier, one who was as adept with a bandage as with a blade. Jenny never sought fame or glory. Her reward was the sight of a child reunited with a parent, a village square slowly returning to life, the sound of laughter where there had only been weeping. Years passed. The worst of the Black Death began to recede, thanks in no small part to the public health measures and organized care that Jenny had championed. She was no longer the young, grieving girl of 17. Her face was lined with the wisdom of experience, and her dark hair was threaded with silver, but the fire in her brown eyes burned as brightly as ever. She had faced down death in countless forms and had emerged not hardened, but with a profound and gentle strength. Her story became a folktale, told around fireplaces to inspire children. They spoke of a giant of a woman who could fell a knight with one swing of her mace and soothe a fevered child with one touch of her hand. Some stories exaggerated her feats, turning her into a mythical giantess, but the core of the legend was always the same. A woman who in the face of absolute loss chose not to surrender to sorrow, but to dedicate her life to ensuring others would not suffer the same fate. She redefined what it meant to be a hero. It wasn't about titles or conquests. It was about compassion in action. The legend of Jenny reminds us that heroism isn't confined to gender, status, or the pages of official history books. It often emerges from the deepest crucibles of personal pain. Jenny's story is a powerful testament to the human spirit's ability to transform grief into a force for good. She saw a world broken by plague and fear, and instead of turning away, she walked directly into the heart of it, armed with skill, courage, and an unwavering belief in the value of every single life. She didn't just fight a disease, she fought despair itself. And in doing so, she became more than a soldier, more than a healer. She became a legend, a timeless symbol of hope who proved that one person, driven by purpose, can bring light to the darkest of times. Her legacy wasn't written in stone or cast in bronze, but was etched into the hearts of the countless people she saved and the generations she inspired. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you were inspired by the legend of Jenny, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of forgotten heroes. Let me know in the comments what you found most inspiring about her story. Until next time, stay curious and keep shining your own light.